Today on Week in Review, the Kasiyan Hospital wraps up their opening week. Organizations are fundraising to restore the moose population, and the Canada Post strike now hits 2 weeks. Hello and thank you for joining us here on Week in Review, where we cover all the news here in the Northwest. Well, after the official announcement in 2019, construction 2 years later, a monumental moment in Northwest history is now official. Now, it has been a long time coming for people in the Northwest and Northern Health and their staff here, with the Kasiyan Hospital now opening today here on Monday, November 25th. And on a tour with the hospital on Friday, hundreds of workers were ready to make the official transition right down the street from the Mills Memorial Hospital. While quieter now, this building is expected to hold a big portion of Terrace's population, and those in the facility were not recorded to protect their privacy for the time being. All patients were officially moved over the weekend, and over 4 levels, Northern Health looks to focus on trauma services, orthopedic surgeries, pathology, radiology, and pharmacy services, and it will also look to train medical students training here in the Northwest. And walking around, there's over 80 units with electronic access for workers, private bathrooms for a portion of the rooms, and of course, the stunning views that we have here in the Northwest. Northern Health said they were adamant on having larger windows for more sunlight for patients that may be having some of their toughest days of their lives. Now, the original plan for this hospital was pitched over 10 years ago, and construction officially started back in June of 2021. Northern Health will now shift their focus on how the parking situation will play out, with many cars forced to park outside of the hospital. 173 spots are now available, and the plan is to have 313 available in the near future. And while there is still work to be done, this remains a significant location not only for Terrace, but the entire Northwest. Now, after addressing long-term concerns over services and accessibility, the Kasiyan Hospital is hoping to be the primary care center here in the Northwest region in British Columbia. From CFTK-TV, I'm Damian Smith. And the Kasiyan Regional Hospital has now officially welcomed its first baby into the world. And here's CFTK-TV's Jaylene Matthews with more information.
The first day the Kasiyan Regional Hospital was open, a sweet new life began his first day as well. Shinto Shaji and his wife Maria Matthew welcomed a healthy and beautiful baby boy into the world at 11:40 p.m. on November 24th. They named him Abrar, which means righteous person, and he weighed in at 9 pounds. The R.E.M. Lee Foundation and the Hospital Auxiliary put together a gift basket for Abrar and his parents to celebrate the birth. The new hospital comes well-equipped to receive the babies of the region, with a Tier 3 neonatal intensive care unit and a special care nursery. There, they will provide community-based pre- and postnatal services, including education, parenting support, and care for high-risk pregnancies. For CFTK-TV News, I'm Jaylene Matthews.
Well, a BC Supreme Court judge has awarded almost $800,000 in damages to a man who was injured by a defective bear deterrent device. And court documents say the man was hurt while working in a remote area in northern BC back in 2019 and tried to use the bear banger to scare off a black bear that he encountered. And instead, the explosive device malfunctioned and went off, leaving the man with permanent hearing loss as well as shrapnel lodged into his leg. A ruling from Justice Sandra Wilkinson said that the company distributing the device knew as early as 2017 that the devices were defective and could potentially detonate. Well, Claire Rattay revealed this week that after winning the regional district of Skeena in the October BC election, that she is being appointed as the BC Conservative Party critic for mental health and addictions. Rattay notes that this issue is something that hits close to home, and making a post on X, she said that she has faced challenges with addiction, mental health, and homelessness. She also stated that for those that are struggling, she understands how critical it is to have available access to support and services. And Rattay finalized saying that she wants to prioritize mental health and addiction services and does not think that the NDP government have shown enough attention to these types of issues in the North. And according to Terrace City officials, fewer defecation and public urinations have been reported since the Portland Loo public toilet was installed back in July. And the loo originally costed $150,000 along with another $70,000 to connect the water, sewer, and power. And costs were covered by a COVID-19 grant that was there to address public sanitations that Terrace's downtown core originally had. This project was hoped to be installed back in 2021, but available labor was a big factor in its delay. Now, moose are found across the province, but 70% of BC's moose live in northern BC, and the BC government has been studying moose population trends and have found a steep decline in numbers in the recent years. And one organization in the Northwest has been working hard to help the moose that they can and are now fundraising in hopes of saving their operations. Once again, here's Jaylene Matthews.
Angelica and Peter Langen started the Northern Lights Wildlife Society over 38 years ago, inspired by a heartbreaking story of 2 orphaned moose calves. Since then, the Langens have successfully raised and released numerous moose back into the wild, with post-release monitoring showing these animals not only surviving, but thriving and reproducing. Angelica says often they get moose whose mothers have been struck by trains or cars, leaving the calf unable to care for itself.
They can't survive on their own. They're still too young. They need milk, and because they're not eating solids to an amount that they can survive on that. So most of them come in at the end of May, beginning of June. Once you head into the fall, then the calves are big enough to survive on their own should the mother get hit then. So it's the really young ones that we take in, and then we just provide them with a safe environment until they're old enough to look after themselves.
Recent shifts in their area have resulted in a new challenge. The moose they release have become targets for local hunters.
We had moose shot on neighbors' properties. So it's not feasible anymore to do the slow releases because we're basically just risking a higher death rate.
The Wildlife Society has come up with a solution for this problem, fencing 10 acres of their property for protection and purchasing a livestock trailer to transport and release the young moose in safer environments.
This is our only option to continue the program, and the program is really important. The moose populations have decreased up to 70% in some areas in the province. And so I think each calf that we rescue because the mom has been hit by a train or a car is really important for the population. And the females that have returned have proven that they do a lot for the population by having 1 or 2 babies every year that they are then contributing. So it's not just the individual animal that we're saving, but we're also helping to stabilize populations.
In connection with Giving Tuesday, every dollar that gets donated to the cause before December 3rd will be matched up to $78,000. The Society is hoping to raise $250,000 to fund the Moose Project. Donations can be made at www.wildlifeshelter.com. For CFTK-TV News, I'm Jaylene Matthews.
And after being on hiatus since the COVID-19 pandemic, the ever-popular Jingle Boat Express, an event supported by the likes of the Prince Rupert Port Authority and Northern Saving Credits Union, is making its return. On December 8th at the Cow Bay Marina, 4 different sailings will give local families the chance to set sail with Santa Claus and see all their tickets money go to the Friendship House Association of Prince Rupert as a way to support other local families and kids in need. The trips in question will take off at 12 p.m., 1 p.m., 2 p.m., and 3 p.m. And for those looking to purchase tickets for this boat ride can do so by clicking a link that is located on the Port of Prince Rupert's website. Up next, layoffs have now started towards workers in Canada Post. Welcome back. Well, mainly due to a collaboration between the City of Prince Rupert and the Prince Rupert Port Authority, the Lesser Centre of the Arts was able to get a major structural upgrade done through the PRPA's Community Investment Fund. And the City Landmark was able to get some new metal roofing as well as new flashing gutters and drains. This work came as part of the multitude of improvement projects that the Port Authority is supporting as a way to make sure that Prince Rupert's key community assets remain in good condition for the foreseeable future. The Lesser Centre seems to have been a particular focus for renovation work since the Port authorities spent $317,000 on this most recent project and has put over $1 million in total towards improving the center. Well, there's a development in the Canada Post strike, but not a good one. And mediation has been temporarily suspended because the employer and the union remain so far apart. CTV's Yasmin Gandam reports.
The latest update clearly shows just how far apart both sides are on critical issues, creating a lot of uncertainty for both business owners and consumers. Federal Labor Minister Stephen McKinnon said that pausing mediation will hopefully allow both Canada Post and the union to reassess their positions and return to the bargaining table. McKinnon is making the move after what he calls, quote, several intensive days of negotiation. The strike is now in its 13th day, and a key issue is a push for weekend deliveries. However, the two sides are at odds over how to make it work.
I would say frustrated. I mean, initially we were optimistic. But with talks being broken down all the time, there is frustration.
Canada Post estimates that 10 million packages are at a standstill as a result, and all just before the busy holiday shopping season.
If it was easy, we could just throw money at this problem and then move on. But the reality is the money is declining at Canada Post. We've been posting losses, and we need to think of the future.
For some small businesses, the impacts are too far to come back from, even if an agreement was reached soon.
For a lot of businesses that have been put through the ringer over the past 5 years, are deeply in debt, haven't recovered from the pandemic restrictions, if they miss out on a good holiday season, they may be done.
Both parties are being warned that they alone are responsible for the consequences of the strike and the possible resolution. As soon as productive bargaining is back on track, that's when the mediator will step in and go back to productive bargaining. Yasmin Gandam, CTV News, Coquitlam.
And the union representing Canada Post workers have now said that the Crown Corporation has now started to lay off striking employees as they approach the 2-week mark. Canada Post spokeswoman Lisa Liu confirmed the layoffs, saying that they are temporary for now. And Liu said the organization has informed their employees that the collective agreements are now no longer viable and their conditions have now changed according to the Canada Labour Code. This comes after in early November, Canada Post issued their lockout notice, but said that they did not expect to lock out employees. Labor and employment lawyer Deborah Hudson says that the layoffs by Canada Post are an unprecedented move and will be met with legal pushback from the union. Now, David Cohen, who is the appointed U.S. ambassador to Canada currently for President Joe Biden, is now finalizing his term and just finished up a visit to Haida Gwaii this month. He was the first high-level foreign representative to visit the island since the Haida Nation acquired governmental authority with Bill S-16 gaining royal assent in Parliament, bringing inherent rights of governance and self-determination to the Haida Nation. And during his time on the island, Cohen also focused on maritime rights related to fishing and preserving Haida culture and language while promoting self-governance. After the break, the 6th annual Festival of Trees is making its return. And for those looking for a family-friendly way to kick off the holiday season this weekend, look no further. This weekend with the Dr. Rem Lee Hospital Foundation is hosting their 6th annual Festival of Trees. Jaylee Matthews has the details.
There's nothing like the magic of Christmas lights glistening in the snow. And this weekend, you'll get the perfect opportunity to see just that. The REM Lee Hospital Foundation is hosting a Festival of Trees fundraiser at the Heritage Park Museum.
We have invited our local businesses to decorate mini trees and wreaths donated by Canadian Tire, and they return them to us upvalued, some of them $100, $200, $300 worth of value on the tree and the wreath. And you're welcome to come in, take a look around, go through the cabins, and then you end up at the hotel in the museum, and that's where we're selling raffle tickets where you can win one of these beautiful trees or wreaths and bring it home.
Admission is just $2, and the funds raised are going to a very special cause.
Our fundraiser now is for a $70,000 omni-bed care station, and it's basically an incubator for the new neonatal ICU. And that's a cool thing. That came through our foundation when we had Northern Health come to a meeting and say that We know we need it in the area, but we can't afford it. Can you help us out? So we did. $14 million project that the Hospital Foundation started, and we're finishing. It's now ready almost to open up. So this care station, the Omnibed, will be part of the equipment used in that neonatal ICU. So come and join us. Lots of fun. Christmas spirit is here. Bring your family and join us and help us to assist the new hospital in the neonatal ICU and fundraising for that Omnibed.
The festival runs this Friday, November 29th from 4 to 8 p.m. and Saturday, November 30th from 11 a.m. to 6 p.m. For CFTK-TV News, I'm Jaylene Matthews.
Now, Northern Health has directed the City of Prince Rupert to issue a boil water notice as a result of equipment failure. And crews are said to be working on this issue, and the city will notify the community as soon as the notice is lifted. And for now, citizens are urged to boil water for at least 1 minute for cooking, drinking, making ice, and brushing teeth. A memorial walk was held in Terrace on Tuesday to remember a youth taken too soon from the community. Sebastian Moore was a student at Caledonia Senior Secondary at the time of his tragic passing, and a number of family and friends were invited to a memorial march to commemorate the anniversary of his death. And the group made its walk from the St. Matthew's Church on Lake Kells Avenue at 3 p.m. on November 26th, and the march ended at the band shelter at George Little Park. Any more inquiries can be directed to the Moore family. Well, the BC Coroner's Service has confirmed with CFTK-TV that they are investigating the crash that took 2 lives on Highway 37 earlier this month. The RCMP said they received a report of a single vehicle rollover on November 6th at approximately 10:30 p.m., and one witness reported seeing the vehicle hydroplane and go off the road before landing upside down, submerged in the water. The RCMP say the 2 occupants of the vehicle did not survive the collision. The Coroner's Service says that because both are open investigations, no more details are being released at this time. Still to come, a local program is putting out an appeal for volunteers. Welcome back to our final segment. Well, we have yet another weekly report covering what happened during the middle part of November for the Kitimat Police Department. And one slightly more uncommon case that was covered in the report saw a traffic stop where an officer discovered that not only a driver not possess a license, but they also happened to have the wrong license plates on their vehicle as well. The driver ended up getting a driving prohibition and fines that totaled up to nearly $1,000. Well, as the cold sets in and the snow begins to accumulate in Terrace, a local program is putting out an appeal for volunteers. Jaylene Matthews has more.
A local program is helping seniors stay safe this winter by providing an essential service in the north, snow removal.
To help our seniors with getting safe access at all times to their medical appointments and just being able to get out into their community and being able to have safe access into their homes as well.
The program is run by Volunteer Terrace, and they're currently on the hunt for more Snow Angel volunteers.
Our volunteers are able to shovel their driveways and give them safe access and put salt and stuff on the driveways. And obviously our seniors that we support are low income and socially isolated seniors, so they don't have anybody really in town that are able to do this for them.
Davidson says it's an opportunity for any capable hands.
We've had families do it together, we've had individuals do it together, we've had newcomers do it, we've had seniors themselves do it, we've had teenagers do it with other teenagers, friends, we've had hockey family, like hockey kids, we've had hockey teams, we've had schools.
Another option is employer-supported volunteering, great for local businesses.
Employer-supported volunteering, you get your employers to allow you to go out into your community and do it and give back to your community.
Davidson says the effort comes much appreciated.
Our seniors are really grateful because this is something that is needed to, hate to say it, stay alive. Because if a senior were to fall in their home and they are snowed in, it's difficult, almost impossible for some people to get into their homes because they're snowed in and an ambulance or somebody can't get in.
If you'd like to be a snow angel, give Volunteer Terrace a call or find them online.
A lot of them are appreciative of our volunteers, and a lot of our volunteers we've had been doing snow angels for a long time. So I think they've gotten used to their volunteers, they've gotten used to seeing them. Now they're not just volunteers, they're friends, they're family. So it's not just like volunteering, it's kind of just like a new thing. It's kind of sort of part of life now, especially like for me, volunteering is just something I do. It's just like a hobby now. It's just part of me.
For CFTK-TV News, I'm Jaylene Matthews.
And for our final story, Henny's Tree has made its return to the CFTK-TV office for the holiday season in collaboration with the Salvation Army. With Christmas less than 4 weeks away becomes the spirit of giving to those who have had a tough break in life in the Northwest, and CFTK-TV, alongside Bounce Radio and Pure Country, are working with the local Salvation Army on the annual Henny's Sharing Tree donation event. And Henny Ebling was once an employee for Pure Country and Bounce Radio and was the mastermind in starting up this initiative.
Almost 50 years ago, she started the Sharing Tree campaign back then to help the less fortunate in our community because there was a need. And after she passed away, we rebranded the Sharing Tree to name it after her in her legacy.
The Terrace Salvation's Army Corps officer pastor stopped by to explain how you can help.
This year, we are having set locations around Terrace where community members can drop off brand new toys unwrapped to help the Salvation Army with their Christmas hamper campaign.
Sabrina Sylvie also elaborated that all the donations will go to the less fortunate, while also listing some donation ideas for anyone that was in need of suggestions.
We are trying to hand out toys from ages 0 to 10, and then 11 to 17-year-olds, we hand out gift cards.
It comes at a time where Sylvie has seen an increase in need in the last 5 years, and according to Statistics Canada, 1 in 10 Canadians live below the poverty line, with that number expected to increase into 2025.
We are seeing a greater need this year. People are just having a really hard time with their basic needs. They're having trouble paying rent, mortgage, gas, hydro, and then to have to buy groceries on top of all of that, it's a challenge this year.
The need is great, and especially with winter and the cold months, the food shelters. It seems that this is just an ongoing issue. It's there's people that are in need, and it's our station can play a small role in supporting and helping them.
And those who wish to donate can drop their items off at our CFTK-TV office, Western Financial Group, as well as Straight Line, GM, RV, and Honda in Terrace, while locations in other communities like Smithers, Kitimat, Houston, and Prince Rupert can be found on our website. Donations will be accepted up until December 15th, after which the Salvation Army will gather up everything and then hand it all out as a part of their own annual Christmas hamper drive. From CFTK-TV in Terrace, I'm Damian Smith. And that will be all for this week's edition of Week in Review. Make sure to tune in to our regular newscasts on Monday at 5, 6, and 11 o'clock here on CFTK-TV. Thank you very much for tuning in, and good night.